David Kennedy now, former NSA hacker, founder of TrustedSec, an information security firm. David, thanks so much. You know DarkSide. You've dealt with them. Lift the veil. What makes this group unique and more dangerous than other hackers?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Shep. This group specifically, the way that they operate is they operate with what we call ransomware as a service. So they basically have, skilled hackers that build the tools, the weaponization, the platform, everything that you would need, just like you would need like Office 365 for Microsoft. But instead, this is ransomware. And then they dish it out to an army of hackers to go and infiltrate other organizations, abroad. So they're really the facilitator of a lot of this technology. And we've dealt with specifically on a number of occasions. They're a pain to deal with. They don't negotiate very well when it comes to paying the ransoms. And they're ruthless. They take your data on top of it so that even if you are able to recover, they can publish your data publicly. So a lot of people will still even pay the ransom, even though they can recover themselves. They're a pretty nasty group overall.
What about this, David? What Russians do at high levels, Vladimir Putin knows about and tacitly approves. True or not? Is Putin connected?
100%. They are absolutely working, in cahoots with the government. They're sanctioned by the government to be able to conduct these operations. Nothing happens in Russia from a cybercrime perspective without it going through the Kremlin.
So with that connection, Vladimir Putin tacitly attacked us. What are we supposed to do?
The issue is that, diplomatically, it's always one of those things where it's like, well, they're in our country maybe, but we're not allowing them to do this on behalf of the government itself. It's a difference between cyber warfare from nation states and happens from an organized crime or a criminal perspective. Those lines haven't been drawn very well yet. And it's not something that we've really politically gone after before in the past. I hope that changes.
I mean, we said it in Crimea. We said it at previous cyber attacks. Had this been an attack on our oil out at sea, you know what it would cause. It would cause at least minimally a war. And yet here we sit.
Cyber is one of those areas where, you look at NotPetya, where the Ukrainian malware hit a number of our companies here in the United States and caused outages. Russian, centric, came from the Russian government. You look at what happened most recently with SolarWinds, where they, targeted some of the largest companies, including Microsoft, Intel, VMware, Cisco. Then the list goes on, originating from Russia. We are seeing so much hostility coming from this country on a cyber warfare campaign perspective that it's almost difficult to even keep up with it. Yet we're not focusing on what we need to do to combat these specific operations or even define what cyber warfare means. It's a dark world out there right now when it comes to cyber warfare, and it's loosely defined, unfortunately.
So is Putin sitting at $1 billion palace laughing at it all and enjoying the attention?
I would assume so. He definitely continues to cause a lot of issues here in the United States, both from misinformation campaigns, what he's doing from a cyber warfare perspective, the organized crime groups that are hitting. These organized crime groups, Shep, are making hundreds of millions of dollars off of people paying ransom. Let me just rephrase it, hundreds of millions of dollars. And it is a substantial revenue stream for these organized crime groups at the behest of all these companies here in the United States that haven't been able to defend themselves against these. And the sophistication just keeps growing and growing and growing. They keep pumping more money into weaponizing their tools and attacks. It's just getting worse. So should the government require the companies do not pay? That would be my suggestion. There's a Department of Treasury has an office called the OFAC, which in the past has labeled ransomware groups from either a Bitcoin perspective or whatever else. If you cut off their funding, the sources, and you label all ransomware a non-negotiable area of transferring money, it would have some direct damages here in the United States because companies that get hit wouldn't be able to potentially recover from those. There are exceptions you can request through the government to make payments through OFAC licensing. But at the end of the day, it could have drastic ramifications on businesses, but it would immediately shut off all of the revenue sources completely and shut these ransomware groups down. I'm a big advocate of that. That it would. David Kennedy, former NSA hacker, thank you. Today, Forbes released its annual ranking of the highest paid athletes.